We're on the record in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Timothy Hart. File number is 23-00900FY. Council appearance.
Good morning, Your Honor. Jared Austin appearing on behalf of Mr. Hart, who appears with us today remotely from the LPD lockup. My appearance is limited for this hearing only.
Okay, can you hear us, Mr. Hart?
Yes, I can.
Thank you. Today's the date and time set for an arraignment. I have a felony complaint here. It alleges that on or about March 19, 2023 at 2801 East Jolly, apartment 208, which is located in the city of Lansing, Ingham County, state of Michigan, that you did allegedly, contrary to law, commit the act in count 1 of larceny from the person. It says you did commit the offense of larceny by stealing from another person by the name of Amara Door certain property, that being a phone, contrary to Michigan Compiled Law 750.357. That's a felony, and the maximum penalty is 10 years in prison. There's a count 2 of domestic violence. It alleges that you did assault or make an assault and battery upon an Amara Door, an individual with whom you had a dating relationship, and that this was done contrary to Michigan Compiled Law 750.812. Restitution may be ordered as this offense may have resulted in damage to another individual's property or physical injury or death to another individual. That's a misdemeanor, and the maximum penalty is 93 days in jail and or $500 in fines, and a consecutive sentence may be imposed under the law if the assault was committed in a place of confinement. Do you understand the charge and the maximum penalty?
Yes, I understand, but
Okay.
I don't have her.
No,
I don't have her phone.
no. We're not asking questions. You're just answering mines right now, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, because I have to go over your rights, and what we can't have you do is say something on the record that could be used against you.
Okay.
So you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say and anything you put in writing can be used against you. You have the right to be represented by an attorney. If you cannot afford to hire an attorney, you have the right to make a request to have the public defender's office appointed to represent you at the expense of the public, okay?
Yeah.
And you have counsel here today for the purposes of your arraignment only. Is he making a request for court-appointed counsel?
Yes, he is.
You have the right to plead guilty, plead not guilty, or stand mute, okay? You have the right to proceed to a preliminary examination in this matter because you're being charged with a felony. You have the right to have your preliminary examination within 21 days of today's date. At the time of your examination, you have the right to have the prosecutor put forth sufficient evidence to establish that they have probable cause that a crime was committed and sufficient probable cause to charge you with the crime. If this matter proceeds beyond the preliminary examination stage, you have the right to proceed to a trial. You have the right to a jury trial. At the time of trial, you have the right to the presumption of innocence. So you're innocent until the prosecution can prove you guilty. You have the right to require the prosecution to prove each element of the charge being brought against you at trial beyond, and they have to prove each element of the charge beyond a reasonable doubt. You have the right to see, hear, or question any of the witnesses that they intend to call against you. And you have the right to call your own witnesses or present evidence that you believe would further a defense to the charges being brought against you. And you have the right to remain silent at trial and not have silence be used to prove or imply that you're guilty. Do you have any questions about your rights so far?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And you have the right to be considered for pretrial release from custody. We'll address your bond in just a moment. For the purposes of your arraignment, we'll enter a plea of not guilty on your behalf. Are you currently employed?
No, ma'am.
What's your home address?
7577 Bath Road.
What city is that in?
What was that?
What city is that in?
Langsburg,
Okay, do you have a phone number?
517-528-7343.
You're currently scheduled for probable cause conference before me, Judge Kristen Simmons. It's gonna be Friday, March 31st, 2023 at 1:00 p.m. That can be held via Zoom. You just need to have a video capability on your device. There's a preliminary examination scheduled before me in person at the court on April 6th, 2023 at 9:30 in the morning. Did you get a notice to appear for those dates?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yes, they're gonna give me the paperwork.
Okay, very good. Do you have any questions at this time, sir?
No, ma'am, I'm just wondering what I gotta do to get out of here. So I can start getting.
We'll address your bond in a moment. You can address bond, counsel.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Hart stated he does live in Langsburg. He lives there with family. He is a lifelong resident of that area, and he does have family ties. Mr. Hart would be working, but for an injury which currently has him disabled, or else he would be working. I know when I did an iChat on Mr. Hart, I did not see any prior offenses, so if he does have any prior offenses, it appears that they are not made public. He lives separately from the complaining witness. They don't even live in the same city. They don't even live in the same county. They don't have any reason to have communication with each other, is my understanding. They don't have children in common. They don't work together. Therefore, I don't think Mr. Hart is going to have any issues with abiding by the no contact order. Given all of that, Your Honor, I would ask the court to consider Mr. Hart for personal recognizance. Thank you.
Okay, allegations in this matter are relatively serious in nature. You have one count that has a maximum penalty of 10 years, but the circumstances alleged in the domestic assault concerning enough that the court does not think personal recognizance bond is appropriate. There's also other factors that the court is considering here, and that is that the crime charge involves violence, or the allegation of violence towards someone that you're in a dating relationship with. There is an allegation that there's a history of harassing behavior toward that same individual, and a concern for the escalation of violence over time. And so because of that, the court is going to issue a cash surety bond. Bond will be set in the amount $15,000 cash surety with GPS tether. There'll be a no contact order in place for the protection of the alleged victim, Amar Abdur. You're not to be within 1,500 feet of wherever she lives, works, or goes to school. Do you understand that?
Yeah, I'm right across from her work right now, actually.
I'm sorry?
I'm right across from our work right now, actually, up here at jail.
Okay. Well, you're in custody, so I think that doesn't count. What do you think?
Well, I guess. I'm just pointing it out.
Okay, so you're not to be within 1,500 feet of wherever she is. You're not to have contact directly or indirectly with her. Do you understand that?
Yeah, I don't want contact with her. She's got mental screws loose.
Okay.
She's got a mental disability that's going on. She tried committing suicide 2 weeks ago when I tried leaving.
Well, Mr. Hart, I wouldn't suggest speaking any further on that at this point.
Yeah.
Okay. You're not to be at the address of 2801 East Jolly, apartment 208. Also, while you're on bond, you're not to travel outside the state without prior approval of the court. You're not to use, purchase, or possess drugs or alcohol. No drugs unless you have a valid prescription. You understand that?
Yes.
You're not to possess a firearm or any other dangerous weapon. You're gonna report to pretrial services within 48 hours of your release, and you'll report to them weekly, okay?
Yeah.
You have any questions?
Nope.
Lastly, you need to make sure you're at all of your court dates and stay
Will
in
be.
communication with your attorney. Any additional matters for the record?
Nothing further on that, Mr. Hart, Your Honor. Thank you.
You're all set, Mr. Hart. We're on the record in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Duval Hollingshed. File number is 23-00832 FY. Appearance for the record, counsel.
Morning, Your Honor. Jared Austin appearing on behalf of Mr. Hollingsworth for the purpose of this hearing only.
Okay, you're Mr. Duval Hollingshed.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, today's the date and the time set for an arraignment. You have a felony complaint here. It alleges that on or about December 18, 2022, at the area of 6200 South Pennsylvania, City of Lansing, Ingham County, State of Michigan, that you did allegedly contrary to law commit the act in count 1 of controlled substance possession of methamphetamine or ecstasy. The allegations that you did knowingly or intentionally possess methamphetamine contrary to Michigan compiled law 333.74032BI. That's a felony, and the maximum penalty is 10 years in prison and or $15,000 in fines. Count 2 is weapons carrying concealed. The allegations that you did carry a dangerous weapon, that being a pistol, whether concealed or otherwise in a vehicle operated or occupied by said defendant, and that vehicle being a Chevrolet Silverado, contrary to Michigan compiled law 750.227. That's a felony. The maximum penalty is 5 years and or $2,500 in fines. A mandatory forfeiture of the weapon or device is required under the law. There's a count 3 of weapons, firearms possession by a felon. It alleges that you did possess or carry a firearm when ineligible to do so because you had been convicted of possession is what it should say, with intent to deliver less than 50 grams of controlled substance, a specified felony, and the requirements for regaining eligibility had not been met, and that this was done contrary to Michigan compiled law 750.224F. That's a felony. Maximum penalty is 5 years and or $5,000 in fines, and mandatory forfeiture of the weapon or device is required under the law. There's a count 4, controlled substance, possession of cocaine, heroin, or other narcotic less than 25 grams, alleging that you did knowingly or intentionally possess less than 25 grams of the mixture containing the controlled substance fentanyl, contrary to Michigan compiled law 333.7403285. That's a felony. The maximum penalty is 4 years and or $25,000 in fines. There's a count 5 of weapons, felony firearm, alleging that you did carry or have on your possession a firearm, that being a pistol, at the time in which you allegedly committed or attempted to commit the felony of possession of methamphetamine, contrary to Michigan compiled law 75022B. There's also a count 6 of weapons, felony, firearm, and that one alleges that you did carry or have on your possession a firearm, that being a pistol, at the time you committed or attempted to commit the felony of felon in possession, contrary to Michigan Compiled Law 750.22B. Both counts 5 and 6 are felonies. Maximum penalty 2 years consecutively with and preceding any term of imprisonment imposed for the felony or attempted felony conviction. And there's a mandatory forfeiture of the weapon or device required under MCL 750.239. There's a count 7, also a weapons, felony, firearm, alleging that you did carry or have on your possession a firearm, or that being a pistol, at the time you committed or attempted to commit the felony of possession of less than 25 grams of fentanyl, and that this was contrary to Michigan Compiled Law 750.227B. Again, that's a felony, maximum penalty 2 years consecutively with and preceding any term of imprisonment imposed for the felony or attempted felony conviction. Mandatory weapon or device is required under the law. There's an habitual offender fourth offense notice. It says, take notice that the defendant was previously convicted of 3 or more felonies or attempts to commit felonies, and that on or about November 21st, 2001, he was convicted of the offense of unarmed robbery in violation of Michigan Compiled Law 750.530 in the 30th Circuit Court of Ingham County, State of Michigan. And that on or about October 26, 2011, he was convicted of the offense of possessed with intent to deliver less than 50 grams of a controlled substance in violation of MCL 333.740.124A in the 30th Circuit Court of Ingham County, State of Michigan. And that on or about March 12, 2021, he was convicted of the offense of receiving and concealing a motor vehicle in violation of MCL 750.5357 in the 44th Circuit for Livingston County, State of Michigan. Therefore, defendant is subject to the penalties provided by MCL 769.12 that enhances the penalty to life if primary offense was penalty of 5 years or more, 15 years or less if primary offense was a penalty under 5 years, and the maximum penalty cannot be less than the maximum term for the first conviction. Do you understand each of the counts that was read here? There were 7 counts and an habitual notice offender. And do you understand the maximum penalty attached to each, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You have the right to be represented by counsel. Counsel from the Public Defender's Office is here today to represent you for the purposes of your arraignment only. If you cannot afford to hire an attorney, you can make a request to have the Public Defender's Office appointed to represent you at the expense of the public. Do you understand your right to counsel, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Is he requesting court appointed counsel?
He is.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say and anything you put in writing can be used against you. You have the right to plead guilty, or you can plead not guilty, or you can stand mute. You're being charged with multiple felonies in this matter, and each felony you have the right to proceed to a preliminary examination. You have the right to hold that preliminary examination within 21 days of your arraignment date unless good cause is found to adjourn it beyond that timeline. At the time of your examination, you have the right to have the prosecution meet their burden, which is to establish that they have sufficient probable cause that a crime was committed and probable cause sufficient to charge you with the crime. Do you understand your rights so far?
Yes, ma'am.
You have the right to proceed to trial in this matter. You have the right to a jury trial. At the time of trial, sir, you have the right to the presumption of innocence. So you're innocent until the prosecution can prove you guilty, or if you waive your right to the presumption of innocence. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
You have the right at trial to have the prosecution prove each element of the charge being brought against you. They have to prove each of the elements beyond a reasonable doubt. You have the right to see, hear, or question any of the witnesses that they bring against you. And you have the right to call your own witnesses or present evidence that you believe will further a defense to these charges. You have the right to remain silent at trial and not have silence be used against you. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
And you have the right to be considered for pretrial release from custody. We'll address your bond in just a moment. For the purposes of his arraignment, is he pleading not guilty?
Yes, Your Honor.
Court will enter a plea of not guilty on your behalf. Are you employed, sir?
Yes, ma'am. I'm in the middle of starting my own business. So I mean, or maybe you wouldn't call that employed. I don't know, but I like to consider myself employed. Yeah.
Okay. What's your address?
I'm homeless. So there
Where do you
is
sleep?
it depends on where I am.
You mean you sleep different places?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Where do you receive your mail?
Your Honor, if
I
I
don't
may.
think I have anywhere to receive.
The
Or
the
what
address
do
that
I
we
have
on
listed?
file,
What is it? What's the address that I have on file? May I ask?
We don't have one in the system.
the address that we have on file, Your Honor, where you can be reached is the Michigan address on Michigan Avenue, which is 607 East Michigan Avenue.
You can't receive mail to a mission.
No,
That's the only
I don't, I
address
haven't,
that he has
and I
provided
haven't
us
been
with.
there. I don't even know where that mission or any that is, so no, I wouldn't want any mail sent there.
My apologies, Your Honor, but that's what he confirmed to me this morning when I spoke with him.
Well, I need an address where you receive your mail.
Um, 916 Wisconsin.
916 what?
Wisconsin.
Whose address is that?
A relative of mine. My cousin.
Okay. Is that where you receive your other mail?
I've received mail there before in the past, but not recently.
You're currently scheduled for probable cause conference before Judge Cynthia Ward, March 31st, 2023, at 9 o'clock in the morning. You have a preliminary examination before Judge Ward Thursday, April 6th, 2023, at 8 o'clock in the morning. Did you get a copy of your notice to appear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, don't lose it because you don't have an address for us to send you another one, okay?
Okay.
Was he picked up on a warrant or did he turn himself in on it? How did you get picked up to jail? Did you turn yourself in?
No, ma'am. I was transported here from Detroit.
Okay, you have another matter pending in Detroit?
No, ma'am. I just was pulled over for a traffic stop and right.
Are you currently on probation or on bond or on parole?
No, ma'am. I do have an April 6th court date that coincides with this, with my prelim date for these cases. I have it's not the
What's the April-
prelim.
What's the
but
April
it's
6th? What you got going on April 6th?
I have a hearing for driving on suspended.
Didn't I ask you if you had another matter pending?
No, I thought you asked if I were probation or parole.
No, before I asked you about that, when you said you got picked up, I said, did you have another matter pending?
Oh, but I didn't have another matter pending from being picked up. That's what I thought you were asking then, not if
No,
I
I
had
don't- I don't-
another.
I just want to know if you have another matter pending right now, but if you, just to be clear, even the driving while license suspended, it sounds like you're out on bond on that because you have a court hearing.
Yeah,
That's
I'm out
scheduled.
on, yes, ma'am, I'm out on, PR bond.
So when I asked you where you're on bond, then the answer was yes.
Then that, it slid by me. I should have said yes then. Yes, ma'am.
Gotcha.
I apologize.
Gotcha, okay.
I wasn't trying to get over on you or lie to you.
No, no worries. As it relates to the April 6th date, your date is still going to be set for this court for a felony on April 6th. And then you will need to notify your attorney of any conflicts. I mean, they can address that, okay?
Okay.
You can address bond counsel.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. It sounds like Mr. Hollingshed has family ties both to this area as well as Wayne County. I know as the court's aware, he does have a prior criminal history. It sounds like his last felony conviction was approximately a couple of years ago. However, that appears to be a nonviolent felony. It sounds like from the habitual offender notice, the last time that he had been convicted of a felony involving any kind of violence was over 10 years ago. Certainly, it doesn't appear that the allegations in this case involve any allegations of violence. I would ask the court to take all that into consideration, Your Honor, and consider releasing Mr. Hollingshed either on his own recognizance or to grant him a reasonable 10% bond, because I don't believe he's going to have very much money to post any type of monetary bond. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hollingshed has a pretty lengthy criminal history. And then we have here 7 counts. All of which are felony charges with habitual offender notice, with the controlled substance in count 1 carrying a maximum penalty of 10 years. And I don't even have an address where I can send him mail. Or when I ask him where he lives, he says, well, where it depends on wherever I am. Ask him about his employment, I can't get a straight answer. He will not be released on his own recognizance. Bond will be set in the amount of 10,000 cash surety. While out on bond, the following conditions apply. You're not to use, purchase, or possess alcohol or drugs without a valid prescription. Not to travel outside the state without prior approval of the court. You're not to possess a firearm or any other dangerous weapon. You need to report to pretrial services within 48 hours of your release. You need to provide the court with a valid address as to where you're going to reside and receive mail within 24 hours of release, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any questions about your bond conditions?
No, ma'am.
Any additional matters for the record, counsel?
Nothing further, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. You're all set, sir.
out this morning on my way. I went to the methadone clinic out here,
Okay.
and he just called me. So I apologize for my appearance. He called me on the way back from there and said that it got misfiled or something. He said he filed an appearance and he talked to the prosecutor and got it adjourned, but somehow it didn't get put in right, whatever that means. And they issued a bench warrant. He said the best thing for me to do would be to come here and show that I'm serious. And so he was like, they're not gonna come get you on a bench warrant for this, but
Okay, the issue is that and we spoke to the prosecutor, I don't believe he received a stipulation to adjourn either. They were working on it, but we don't have anything in our file from your attorney. I'm gonna quash the bench warrant and give you a new court date that you can relay the message to your attorney that we need him to properly file his appearance, okay? Thank you. You can have a seat, sir. We're on the record in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Robert Alvarado. I have file numbers 23-00194 FY, 21-02971 FY, and 22-02474 OM. Council appearance.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning. Jared Austin, appearing on behalf of Mr. Alvarado. My appearance is limited for this purpose only.
Mr. Alvarado,
Yes, ma'am.
okay, you can come further. Thank you. Today's the date and the time that's set for an arraignment. I have 3 files here. First file ending in file number 194. I have a felony complaint. It alleges that on or about August 12, 2022, at the area of 900 American Road, City of Lansing, Ingham County, State of Michigan, that you did allegedly contrary to law commit the act in count 1 of controlled substance possession of methamphetamine ecstasy. It alleges that you did knowingly or intentionally possess methamphetamine and that this was done contrary to Michigan Compiled Law 333.74032BI. That's a felony. The maximum penalty here is 10 years and/or $15,000 in fines. Count 2 is a controlled substance possession of cocaine, heroin, or other narcotic less than 25 grams, alleging that you did knowingly or intentionally possess less than 25 grams of a mixture containing the controlled substance heroin, contrary to Michigan Compiled Law 333.74032A5. That's a felony. Maximum penalty is 4 years and/or $25,000 in fines. Sir, do you understand the charges and the maximum penalty attached to both counts 1 and 2?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Okay. You have the right to be represented by counsel. If you cannot afford to hire an attorney, you can make a request to have court-appointed counsel or a public defender's office to represent you at the expense of the public. Okay, Mr. Austin is here for the purposes of your arraignment only, though. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Is he requesting court-appointed counsel?
He is, Your Honor. We currently represent him on the other files.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, you have the right in this matter, sir, to plead guilty. You can plead not guilty, or you can stand mute. You have the right in this file to proceed to a trial, a preliminary examination, because you're being charged with felonies. You have the right to have preliminary examination within 21 days of today's date, that being the date of your arraignment, unless you waive the 21 days or the court finds good cause to go beyond that 21-day timeline. Do you understand that, right?
Yes, ma'am.
At the time of your examination, you have the right to have the prosecution meet their burden, which is to establish that they have sufficient probable cause that a crime was committed and probable cause sufficient to charge you with the crime. You have the right to proceed to a trial in this matter. You have the right to jury trial. You have the right to presumption of innocence. And so you're innocent until the prosecution can prove you guilty. And you have the right to have them prove each element of the charges being brought against you beyond a reasonable doubt at trial. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
You have the right to see, hear, or question any other witnesses that the prosecution intends to call. And you have the right to call your own witnesses to speak for you at trial. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
You have the right to remain silent at trial and not have silence be used against you. And then you have the right to be considered for pretrial release from custody. We'll address your bond shortly. Are you currently on probation, parole, or on bond, or any other matter?
No, ma'am.
Okay, for the purposes of his arraignment, he's pleading not guilty, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
You're scheduled for probable cause conference before Judge Tony Flores. It's gonna be March 30th, 2023 at 8 o'clock in the morning. It says in person at the court. You have a preliminary examination also before Judge Flores. It's gonna be April 6th, 2023 at 8:30 in the court, in person at the court. Did you get a notice to appear?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you employed, sir?
Yes, I am, ma'am.
Where are you employed?
Buck and Jeff's painting service in Holt.
What's it called again?
Buck and Jeff's painting service.
Okay. What's your home address?
I'm currently at the mission right now, Your Honor. City Rescue Mission.
Do you have an address where you receive mail?
I don't. I actually received mail at that's 607 East Michigan.
No, they don't like that. They don't want to receive mail for people. They let us know.
When we're staying there, you're allowed to receive mail there.
They've requested that the court not send mail though, is what I'm telling you, okay?
Okay. I don't know where.
What's
you
your
could
phone
possibly
number?
316-519-5461.
316.
519-5461.
Very good. You can address the phone.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Alvarado stated he is employed and he is working. Sounds like he is a lifelong resident of our community. He also has family ties to the area. Doesn't sound like the allegations in this case involve anything amounting to allegation of violence. The presumption afforded to Mr. Alvarado is that he did not commit these offenses. I would ask the court to consider all of that and consider releasing him on his own cognizance or any alternative, granting him a reasonable 10% bond in the post. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Alvarado, have you missed court before?
No, ma'am.
You said what?
No, ma'am. You too.
You know why I asked you that?
Why is that, ma'am?
Because you're here on a failure to appear warrant as well.
Oh, my
I
bad.
wanted to see if you were gonna be honest.
Trying to be honest. Didn't realize.
Yep. Mm-hmm. File number 21-02971, you were supposed to appear before the court to be sentenced, and you failed to appear back on September 26, 2022. Also in that file, you failed to appear for your sentencing in February of 2022. You failed to appear in May of 2022. You failed to appear in March of 2022. You failed to appear in November 2021.
I
You want to
apologize,
answer
Your
my
Honor.
question again? Have you ever missed court before?
Yes, I have, Your Honor. I apologize.
Oh, okay. Personal recognizance bond is denied because he fails to appear in court, and then he's not even honest about it, and I have the file here. That's what he's here for. That matter for sentencing will be reset, and that matter is before Judge Flores. You have a sentence on May 15th, 2023 at 1:30. You gotta get a new referral to see probation, and you are ordered to be remanded until that's done. Do you understand that? I need a new referral to probation on that. I don't know, Flores staff wants to do it, whatever. Okay, file number 22-02474. I have a citation here, alleges that on or about September 20th, 2022, at approximately 2:28 p.m., City of Lansing, Ingham County, State of Michigan, at the 6200 South Pennsylvania Ave, at or near East Miller Street, that address is Meyer. You allegedly committed the act of trespassing on the property of another in violation of the City of Lansing ordinance. And so this is a misdemeanor. Maximum penalty is 93 days and or $500 in fines. You were scheduled to be before this court for arraignment on this matter back on October 25th, 2022, but you failed to appear. And a notice to appear was sent to the address that you gave us, which was the Mission. You understand that, sir?
Yes, I understand, Your Honor.
Okay, in that matter, you have the right to proceed to trial, and you also have the right to be represented by counsel. You have the right to a jury trial on this matter, and you have the right to have the city bring sufficient evidence to prove each element of the charge being brought against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Do you understand that right, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'll note here that you're requesting court-appointed counsel and that you're entering a plea of not guilty. All your other trial rights, as indicated in the other file, they apply to this file as well, okay?
Yes.
Bond in the trespass will be set at $500 personal recognizance, and you're not to be at 6200 South Pennsylvania. Your court date on that is gonna be February, I'm sorry. That's an old date. It's gonna be April 10th, 2023 at 9 a.m. That's before Judge Buchanan, okay?
Mhm.
No, it's not. They transferred this to Flores. Looks like it's been transferred to Judge Flores, so that'll be before Judge Flores as well, okay?
Yes.
Do you have any questions on that file?
Ma'am.
Okay, bond on the felony file. Set at $2,000 500, 10%. And you need to make sure you appear to court for all of your future court dates. You're not to use, purchase, or possess drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription. You're not to possess a firearm or any other dangerous weapon. You're not to travel outside the state without prior approval of the court. You're also required to report to pretrial services within 48 hours of your release, and I'm ordering that you undergo a urine analysis testing. You'll be testing weekly, okay? Any additional matters on the record, counsel?
One brief point of clarification, Your Honor. On the 21 file, the court stated that he is remanded pending an assessment from the probation department. Once that is complete, will his bond convert to some type of bond once that is done?
Correct. It looks like Flores put it for 3,000, 10%. Let me see. I'll just adopt that. Yes, 3,000, 10% is what it'll convert to.
Thank you, Your Honor, and with that, I have nothing further.
Thank you. You're all set, sir.
All right, thank you. Good job.
On the record in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Roderick Washington Jr., file number 22-03220. SM, counsel appearance.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Jared Austin, appearing on behalf of Mr. Washington for the limited purpose of this hearing only.
Are you Roderick Washington Jr.?
Yes, I am.
Okay, Mr. Washington, today's the date and the time set for an arraignment. I have here a misdemeanor complaint. It alleges that on or about October 23rd, 2022, at the area of 921 West Holmes, City of Lansing, Ingham County, State of Michigan, that you did allegedly contrary to law commit the act in count 1 of malicious destruction of personal property, $200 or more, but less than $1,000. The allegations is that you willfully and maliciously destroyed or injured an iPhone 12 Pro Max, the personal property of a Julia Montez, and the amount of the destruction or injury was $200 or more, but less than $1,000. This was contrary to Michigan Compiled Law 750.377A1CI. That's a misdemeanor with a maximum penalty of 1 year and or $2,000 in fines, or 3 times the amount of the destruction or injury, whichever is greater. There's a count 2 of domestic violence that alleges that you did make an assault and battery upon Julia Montez, an individual with whom you had a child in common, and that this is done contrary to MCL 750.812. Restitution may be ordered as this offense may have resulted in damage to another's individual's property or physical injury or death to another individual under MCL 780.811A. That's a misdemeanor. The maximum penalty is 93 days in jail and or $500 in fines. A consecutive sentence may be imposed under the law if the assault was committed in a place of confinement. Do you understand the charge and the maximum penalties?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. You have the right in this matter to be represented by an attorney. Mr. Austin from the Public Defender's Office is representing you for the purposes of your arraignment only. But you have the right to have counsel represent you at each stage of the criminal prosecution and if you're questioned by law enforcement. And if you cannot afford to hire an attorney, you can make a request to have the Public Defender's Office appointed to represent you at the expense of the public. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Is he requesting public defender
Yes,
representation? You have the right to remain silent. Anything that you say, anything you put in writing can be used against you. You have the right to plead guilty, plead not guilty, or stand mute. You have the right to proceed to a trial, and you have the right to jury trial. You have the right to the presumption of innocence. You're innocent until the prosecution can prove you guilty. You have the right to have the prosecution prove each element of the charge being brought against you or the charges being brought against you beyond a reasonable doubt at trial. you have any questions so far?
No, ma'am.
You have the right to see, hear, or question any of the witnesses the prosecution intends to call. You have the right to call your own witnesses, or you can present evidence at trial that you believe would further a defense to these charges. Do you have any questions so far?
No, ma'am.
Is he pleading not guilty today?
Yes, he is, Your Honor. We request a pretrial conference.
Thank you. Are you currently on probation, parole, or on bond, or any other matter?
No, ma'am.
Okay. You have a pretrial conference before Judge Flores. It's gonna be Tuesday, April 4th, 2023 at 9 o'clock in the morning. Did you get a notice to appear?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you employed?
Yes, ma'am.
Where are you employed?
I work for Woodbridge Group, building cars for GM.
What's your home address?
4035 West Jolly Road, apartment 13.
What's your phone number?
517-803-7001.
Let me address phone, counsel.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. My understanding from speaking with Mr. Washington is he's a lifelong resident of the community. He does have family ties in the community. As he stated, he is working and gainfully employed. Further, my understanding that he does not reside with the complaining witness. They do have a minor child in common. So I would ask the court for some type of variance on the no contact order where he could either have limited contact or through a third party have contact as it relates to their minor child in common only. When I did an iChat on Mr. Washington, it did not reveal anything, Your Honor, which would indicate if he either has no priors at all, or if he does, certainly nothing that would be made public. He stated that he recently found out about this charge and he self-surrendered and turned himself in this morning, which I think indicates that he's going to take this seriously and do what he needs to appear in court and abide by the court's pretrial release orders, including the no contact order. I would ask the court to consider releasing him on his own recognizance. Thank you.
I don't see anything on his prior criminals. Either personal recognizance will be granted. Your bond is $500 personal recognizance. While you're on bond, there is a no contact order that will be in place for the protection of the alleged victim, Julia Montez. You're not to have contact directly or indirectly with Ms. Montez. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
That includes no third-party contact at this time. The allegations, the underlying matter involved childcare. So if you want to order as to how you can get contact with her about childcare, you can deal with that at the family court, okay?
Okay.
Okay. You're not to be within 1,500 feet of wherever she lives, works, or goes to school. Do you have any questions about that?
No, ma'am.
You're not to purchase or possess a firearm or any other dangerous weapon. You're not to travel outside the state without prior approval of this court. You're not to engage in any assaultive or threatening behavior. You're not to use drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription. Any questions about that?
No, ma'am.
You need to make sure you appear to all of your future court dates as well. Any additional matters for the record?
Nothing further, Your Honor. Thank you.
You're all set, sir. On the record in the matter of the people of the city of Lansing versus Minnie Williams. File number 22L271402 and 22L271411. Council appearance.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Jared Austin, appearing on behalf of Nenny Williams. My appearance is limited to this hearing only.
Okay. Are you Nenny Williams?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Williams, I have here a citation. It alleges that on or about June 30th, 2022, at approximately 12:36 a.m. in the area upon South Martin Luther King Boulevard at or near West Jolly Road, City of Lansing, Ingham County, State of Michigan, that you allegedly failed to display a valid license.
Yes.
You were supposed to appear for arraignment on that matter back on August 12th, 2022, but you did not appear. So that matter is a misdemeanor, sir. You have maximum penalty in that matter of 93 days in jail and or $500 in fines. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Also on that date and time, the citation stated that you were cited for no insurance. But because you failed to appear on your court date back on August 12th, you receive a default judgment. And so you owe a balance of $306, okay?
Okay, I didn't know I had a court date. I did not know.
You knew you got a citation though, correct?
Correct, correct. I
Okay.
thought I had to just pay the ticket on.
You thought you could just pay it off?
Yeah, that's what I thought it was about.
Oh, okay, well, you got that back in June. It's almost June again. You didn't pay it off.
I know, I understand. It probably slipped my
Okay,
mind.
what's your plan?
What's my plan?
Yeah, when you gonna pay it?
Just give me a little time, I can pay it. I just need a little time. I can do like monthly bills or something like that. Cause
How much you gonna pay per month?
I could do like 100 to 150 a month.
Okay, which day you gonna make your first payment?
I say what? The 5th of each month. If that's cool.
Okay, I'll note here that you'll make your first payment of $100 on the no insurance. On April 5th, you'll make a payment of $100 the 5th of each month until paid in full, correct?
Correct.
What's your date of birth, sir?
8/3/1982.
1982?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, and back to the failure to display license. You have the following rights on that, sir. You have the right to be represented by counsel. If you cannot afford to hire an attorney, you can make a request to have the public defender's office appointed to represent you at the expense of the public, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your Honor.
Is he requesting court appointed counsel?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, you have the right to plead guilty, plead not guilty, or stand mute. You have the right to have a jury trial in this matter. You have the right to the presumption of innocence. So you're innocent until the prosecution, which is the city attorney's office, can prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt as to the driving while license is suspended or failure to display a valid license. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay, you have the right to see, hear, or question any other witnesses that the city brings against you. You have the right to call your own witnesses or present evidence that you believe further a defense to this charge. For the purposes of his arraignment, is he pleading not guilty?
Yes, Your Honor.
You have a pre-trial, April 10th, 2023 at 9 o'clock in the morning. Which judge is this? For Judge Tony Flores. Oh, it's back here. Okay,
Okay.
did you get a notice to appear?
Yes, Your Honor.
States here that that pre-trial is in person, okay, sir?
Okay.
Do you have any questions?
No.
Your bond is set at $500 personal recognizance. You need to make sure you appear for your court dates, okay, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. You're all set. We're on the record in the matters of the people of the state of Michigan. People of the city of Lansing versus Bobby Joe Harris. File numbers 23-00778, 23-00852, 23-00853, 23-00894, 895, and 22-02489. Council appearances.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Jared Austin, appearing on behalf of Bobby Harris for the purpose of this hearing only.
Are you Bobby Harris?
Yes, I am.
Okay, Mr. Harris, I'm gonna take file number 22-02489 first, because that's one that you had a bench warrant on.
Yeah. Can I say something about that?
Sure, but you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you.
I know, but I'm epileptic and I had a seizure that day and I went straight to the hospital. That's it. I couldn't get to court. I had a straight seizure.
Okay, that was back in October.
No, I had another one.
Where have you been since then?
I've been at the gospel mission.
Okay. Well, there's some allegations that you've been some other places that you weren't supposed to be. File number ending in 894, the allegation is that you trespassed at the area upon East Michigan Avenue at or near South Pennsylvania Avenue back on March 19, 2023 at 5 o'clock in the morning. And then file number 895, the allegation is that you trespassed at East Saginaw at or near 500 East Saginaw. And that was back on the same date, March 19, 2023 at approximately 8:26 p.m. And then there's an allegation that you trespassed at 3545 Forest Road at or near the Candlewood Suites, City of Lansing, Eagan County, State of Michigan, back on March 10, 2023 at 8:30 in the morning. Then in file number 853, the allegation is that you trespassed and obstructed an official business at the address of 3545 Forest Road, which is at or near Candlewood Suite, City of Lansing, Eagan County, on March 10, 2023 at 8:30 in the morning. So each of these files, sir, you have the right to be represented by counsel. You have the right to have a trial. And you have the right to a jury trial. The time of trial, you have the right to the presumption of innocence, and you have the right to have the city bring sufficient evidence to prove each element of the charges being brought against you beyond a reasonable doubt. You have the right to remain silent at trial and not have sounds be used against you. You have the right to see, hear, or question any other witnesses that the city brings against you, and you have the right to call your own witnesses at trial or present evidence you believe would further defense to these charges. Okay, sir?
Yes, yes.
Okay. What's your address?
I do not have an address. I am currently homeless.
Okay. Have you been drinking, sir?
No,
Oh, okay. Why you say it like that?
because you just asked. I just answered you.
I just want to make sure that you're not under the influence before we proceed. That's all. Don't
Yeah,
be shocked.
I just answered.
Okay, very good. So you're homeless. Do you have a phone number?
No, I do not.
Okay.
I do not
And do
have
you-
any phone.
Okay. Are you employed?
Yes, I am.
Where are you employed?
I'm employed over on the east side, selling cars.
Oh, really? Where do you sell cars?
It's called, I don't, uh,
I don't think the name of where you sell cars is on that paperwork, sir.
yeah, not on this one. I just had it a minute ago. I don't know what it's called.
You don't remember where you work?
No,
Okay,
no,
very
the name of it. I just don't
Got it.
remember
The
the
court will
name.
enter a not guilty plea on each of these files for you. Counsel, you can address bond.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. These appear to be very similar under misdemeanor trespass charges of nature. I believe Mr. Harris primarily deals with some mental health issues, which I think would probably more aptly explain any concerns the court has about behavior today. Struggles with being homeless. I believe he was just arraigned on other file, Your Honor, and I think he's ordered to meet with CMH or CATS prior to his release. I think Mr. Harris could benefit from something that, as I do believe he is in need of mental health help. And I think he has some physical issues as well, if you alluded to. I would ask the court to grant him a reasonable bond. Thank you.
Okay. When was he arraigned on the other matter?
Appears just approximately a week ago, Your Honor, on the 13th is the day we did an intake with him on file, I believe 23778.
I please picked up this file.
I believe that was a trespass against Sparrow Hospital. According to the notes.
Okay, so he was already released on that. So
It would appear so.
I don't know if he's gotten a CATS evaluation. If he just got one, I don't see the benefit of sending him back, but I don't know.
I have no way of knowing whether that was completed or not, Your Honor. I just know that I see that in the notes.
Sorry. Oh, he did get a CATS assessment last week. That's Friday, to be exact. So he was just released, it looks like. And he's requesting court appointed counsel.
He is, Your Honor.
Okay, bond and file number ending in 2489. $100 cash surety. Bond in 853. $100 cash surety. Bond in 23-00852 is $100 cash surety. Bond ending in 894, $100 cash surety. I said 895, 894 and 895 both $100 cash surety. Do you have any questions today, Mr. Harris?
No,
You're all set, thank you.
so
I'm sorry.
yeah, I do have a question to ask. No,
778.
never mind.
Your Honor, to clarify, the one ending in 778, he was already arraigned on that one last week. Was that correct?
I don't have it. That's why I didn't say anything about it, because I don't have it. I can't go, I just go by this.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.